I think the situation in Cuba, and again, it's hard to explain, but it's tragic. It's I've got all the emotions out. It's frustrating. It's like all the gamut of emotions that go into things that make no sense, that don't take any type of historical sensibility. Because how can you have a nation that's been enslaved since 1959, it's 60 plus years now, when you've had 2 waves of Cold War, the fall of communism in the Eastern Bloc, you've had all of those things, and Cuba remains this, this monstrous dictatorship that took all of the best repressive tactics from the old Soviet Union and applied it on its people. When you look at rafts being found by the dozens every day now as we speak, you see the border full of Cubans fleeing the island. You see the desire of a people wanting to be free via protests on the street. Yes, it's this incessant, repressive machinery controlled still by the Castro family and his acolytes. What's the solution? Because Cuba's an island. And it's easy to lose hope. It's easy to ignore, right? Like most of the world has ignored and will continue to ignore Cuba.
Right.
Because it's not on anybody's list. I have always said that the only time Cuba's situation will get resolved by an outside force outside of Cuba were when the interest of a free Cuban people align with that country's interest. That hasn't happened yet. So what do we do? That's the ultimate question. And we can support humanitarian bases. We can support the opposition in Cuba with support. And we can do all of that. But what really moves the needle? And I've been doing this for a long time. And I don't think there's any magic bullet. I think it takes faith. I think if you look at the models of countries that have gone from a totalitarian system to a free society in a short period of time, there's been shocks in their systems that weren't anticipated.
Are we in that shock moment?
I don't know. I don't know. Frankly, I hate to say this, I'm a super optimistic person, but I'm not super optimistic, because I think it's going to take something much more severe to rattle the powers that be in Cuba from repressing the people. At the end of the day, and you've heard me say this before, the solution of Cuba lies in the hands of Cubans.
Yeah.
It does not lie in the hands of the United States of America or foreign powers or Venezuelans or Russians, etc. It lies in the hands of Cuban people. When the Cuban people decide to truly be free and take any means necessary to do that, you'll see movement. Cannot rely on the United States. Not going to free Cuba. There's not going to be an invasion in Cuba to free the people. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So we're in a frustrating situation. I think what we all can do is just continue showing the world what a free Cuba can represent, what the Cuban people aspire for, which is freedom. I think there's been a tremendous shift over the last 20 years, and from Cuba being this supposed revolutionary socialist example to truly being a pariah. I think it's very difficult now where you see people saying Cuba is a good example of anything, where you had the extreme left and socialism for a long time use Cuba as this example. I don't think that exists anymore, but it's frustrating. That's where we're at.
Do you feel like in the last 2 years there's been more of a push or no?
I think so, because you start seeing exhibits of opposition publicly that you didn't see before.
Right, from the people.
From the people. I mean, it's evident.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, and it could have been, we only see what they want us to see, right?
Yes.
And then once we're seeing what they don't want us to see, then they cut us off from all vision. Like, you can't see
that. They can't take back or control back what's happened. I think there's amazing momentum. I think everything that's happened is a good thing. But I think for decades we all believed that what mattered to the Cuban people was only the political speech, right? Freedom, democracy, those values that we all hold dear. Put that aside. What the Cuban people truly want is to be able to socially survive and be able to provide something for kids and put food on the table and do those things. Because when you've been taken away, when you've been basically you've given nothing and you depend totally on the state, it's a bad thing, you become subservient to the state. And as you see people now go beyond that barrier, right? That barrier of the Comité de Defensa Revolución, the people on the block who spy on you, what you want, and you're going on the streets and you're repelling the police, right? Of arresting someone who's doing something peacefully. And those are all great signs. So is there movement? Absolutely. But again, we get impatient. We want it like yesterday. Yesterday.